Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Last Week in Exports at Export Fundas. Jagat ji, I can't believe the amount of news which has happened in exports last week. I mean, you know this. It was just non-stop announcement after announcement, and some crazy things happening, not just in the world of exports, but India also had a superb private space launch, the third country in the world which actually did it. So first, congratulations to India and congratulations to the team at which launched Vikram One. I mean, absolutely amazing. Jagat ji, before we get into the stories, anything you want to say about last week in exports?
Yeah, so in fact, the Skyroot Vikram 1 launch from the first private sector launch in India is actually an export opportunity. Big time, big time, big time. See,
Right.
now, a lot of foreign countries will launch their satellites from India through private sector. Yes, because they were doing it through ISRO. Because
Right.
India is already the cheapest launch pad in the world.
Right. Right.
We have launched American satellites also.
Right.
So now, once you start launching satellites for foreign countries, you are going to get payment in foreign currency,
Yep.
right? That is called export. So
Yeah.
opening up the to the private sector is big thing. Of course, ISRO has played a stellar role even in private sector.
Right.
So really, it's and the beauty is the young people. Whatever is happening right now in the country, there are two sides to it. One side is all these young people going to space, and the other one we are seeing on the streets.
Sir, I mean, I can tell you, I don't know, I don't want to make anything controversial, but I believe the young folks who launched the space are a much better representative of my generation than what we are seeing on the street.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
of course, everybody knows that, but that's the sad part of our country. But the nation has to, you and me, we have to deal with it.
absolutely. So let's get into the stories. We have tons and tons of stories today for you guys. The It was in fact very difficult to shortlist the big ones. But Jagaji, let's start with the first one. The first 24-ton frozen French fry export from Uttarakhand to Iraq. फ्रेंच फ्राइज हमने नहीं एक्सपोर्ट किया जगत जी अब तक आलू हमारा फेवरेट वेजिटेबल है आई मीन व्हाट आर योर थॉट्स ऑन दिस
So, Nikhil, there are four stories within this.
ओके
One is value addition in food products, and this is so
राइट
relevant to farmer community also. Our farmers, when they sell potato in domestic mandi, they don't get good price. But
राइट
the youngsters in their family, if they do value addition like French fries, there is a
राइट
market. Second, Uttarakhand, landlocked state.
राइट
Always people say I am in a landlocked state, I don't have much opportunities. Not
राइट
true, right?
राइट
In today's world. And the third is it has gone to Iraq, which is interesting, which is a very new market,
राइट
right? And and the fourth very interesting thing is that it is the first time that it has
करेक्ट
happened from
करेक्ट
Uttarakhand. So, a lot of myths which have been connected to exports, that landlocked states are at disadvantage, or value addition in food is a challenge,
राइट
certifications are a challenge, Middle East market. See, war is going on in Middle East, but
राइट
we are shipping, right?
या
So very, very, very encouraging news.
guys I mean always have a maximalist economic mindset basically which is boss market is there are you ready
Correct, of course,
you
always.
can never complain कि market नहीं है
Yeah, yeah. See, I always say, Nikhil, that in our program and everywhere, that 100 $126 trillion economy is there in the world. India is 4.4 trillion. So 122 trillion is outside India. That is
yeah
export opportunity.
Yeah. Let's go to the next story. Indian mithai exports surged 10% annually. Gulab Jamun now a top dessert in UK. Jagaji, before you share your thoughts, I have had few about 2 3 years back. I had made a reel or a short which had got a lot of eyeballs. Few people had even called me after seeing that, where I had said that, boss, I can tell you for sure that Indian laddus, all the different laddus we have, can any day beat Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So,
True.
Jagat ji, your thoughts?
No, no, true, true, absolutely. See, what is Ferrero Rocher? It is the packaging.
Correct.
So
Correct.
we have to get this message that packaging is critical in export or food or in any
Exactly.
business. So packaging is the key thing, and
Right.
look at the how it is packaged and how people pick it up at airports because of the
Yeah.
packaging and ease of carrying. Ease of carrying.
Exactly.
You can
Yeah.
certainly make laddus in that type of packaging, right?
Yeah. But
And of
taste
course,
for taste, I think I would anyway prefer our
yeah,
laddus,
yeah, yeah.
Jagatji. I don't know about you.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. And the total market size of Indian sweets as a potential, I believe, is almost 15 billion US dollar.
My
We are not
God.
even doing 5% of that opportunity. Only two
My
things
God.
we have to get right. One is the packaging, and the other is a little bit of a shelf life, because
Right.
shelf life we have to have a little bit more. But
Right.
a huge opportunity, and the interesting thing is, I have always been saying that whenever there is any Indian traditional food stuff, like, or even mithai, we should always try to also target non-Indian market, like non-diaspora market, beyond
Right.
diaspora. See, why Chinese noodles? Everybody eats Chinese noodles. It's not only Chinese are eating in US Chinese noodles, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Everybody is. So we have to make our food that popular.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's go to the next story, Jagatji, which is Asia and Africa drive Indian export growth in April May. It's up by 16%. April, May, and ASEAN exports has surged 66.9% to $10.5 billion. Africa 53% to $9.6 billion. Guys, I mean, I'm stressing on these numbers because I just want you to think that even if you were running a business and if you are able to see this kind of growth, you will start going nuts. For the size and scale and volume of the numbers you're seeing here, this kind of growth is just crazy. Jagatji, your thoughts?
Yes, Nikhil, and this is also reflective of kind of a China plus one thought process, which is actually translating into Indian manufacturing through schemes like PLI, Production
Right,
Linked Incentive Scheme of Government of India. So if you see our ASEAN is actually a backyard of China. China is dominant in that market, but our
right,
exports in April and May of this year compared to last year April and May has gone up by 67%,
right.
right? So that's a huge jump. And if it sustains, I mean, last time also I said we will cross 1.1 trillion exports, which we are sitting at something like 860 billion. And Africa also, same story, 53% over 2 months growth is huge. And this is in spite of all the challenges with the shipping and the
Yeah,
freight
yeah,
rates going high, and the disturbances. So it's a very good
absolutely.
movement, and any entrepreneur who is looking at export should look at these two markets because they are nearby to us and similar culture, similar value system, geography closer, ASEAN and Africa. So
Yeah,
it's a huge opportunity.
absolutely. Let's move on to the next story. So this is something interesting. Gem and jewelry exports jumped 27% in June to this small typo. This is $2.2 billion, right? And
Yeah.
uh, this has been huge. I mean, if you think about it, uh, this is one of those categories where I feel historically India has been a driver of. I mean, I've seen the kind of designs which a lot of these foreign brands have, and they don't come close to the kind of stuff which we make. जो कारीगरी है, जो artistic touch है, the I feel I've interacted with few of these artists, Jagatji, because I happen to know some folks in jewelry manufacturing, and for them it's like a devotion. They are not even thinking of it like a work. And I'm always in awe. I'm like, okay. So, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, see, gems and jewelry is core to Indian exports.
Right,
One of the highest exports of India in gems and jewelry, because that
right,
is a very labor sector driven also. So this has happened because partly also because of the free trade agreements which government took the initiative to sign and create the ecosystem, and the
right,
demand revival and clarity on US duties. So last few months it was at 10%. So
right,
the court had US courts had dropped down those 50%, considered it to be illegal. So 10% was good enough, and so so it rebounded because earlier it had gone down quite a bit, but now this is showing a sign of revival, which is very good. And
Okay.
I'm sure this July also, July, August, it will be, because then the Christmas is coming, and the seasons are coming. So gems and jewelry with the kind of artwork which we have in India is unbeatable.
Absolutely. The next story, the UK, India UK CETA. If you guys remember previous episode, we had said it was the day we were doing the episode. It had started. And we have few updates for you. So Jagatji, you can take it away. Some huge numbers.
Yeah, yeah. On the very first day, Nikhil, 30 exporters, they shipped almost $10 million of jewelry only to UK,
Wow.
right? Yeah, and the target is 2.5 billion in 3 years, and
Okay.
50. But this is jewelry. But in total, 50 consignments were worth $140 million was shipped to UK as zero duty, which
Wow.
included textiles, gems and jewelry, and marine products.
Right.
So it is a very good start on the day one. Imagine $140 million. So the target which has been set, I'm sure it will be achieved before the
Right.
the date which has been decided. And these type of free trade agreements, as we go on signing more and more, is going to lift the Indian exports and the overall Indian economy to higher levels of competitiveness.
Absolutely. Another good thing is I'm sure a lot of exporters who I hope a lot of you have been listening to the show and a lot of you have spoken to Jagatji as well as a lot of you who are exporting to these countries. I'm I hope you were prepared because the moment the zero tariff came in, a huge surge went in. So that was great. So let's move to the next story. DGFT proposes RCMC exemptions for low value exports. Jagatji, very, very beneficial for SMEs, SMBs, MSMEs. Your thoughts,
Yeah, in particular for e-commerce
right?
exports, because what this was a big hurdle. What was happening, that this is RCMC's registration cum membership certificate of Export Promotion Council, and
Right,
for even small shipments, the cost would go up, the delays would happen, because of this documentation. So I'm sure with this, the e-commerce exports from India should grow, which in any case, e-commerce market size as a model of distribution system in the world is growing, very very fast. Businesses are shifting from the traditional distribution segments to the e-commerce channels. So as we go on doing ease of business for entrepreneurs in India, that much the opportunity for the entrepreneurs is going to grow. So this is an example of ease of doing business. So right step in the right direction.
absolutely. Uh, let's move on to the next story. Uh, so duty drawback rates doubled for jewelry exports. Jagatji, just explain this for those of whom who didn't understand.
Yeah, so government gives duty drawback because we, whatever gems and jewelry value added we export, we actually importing gold bars and silver. We are importing because we don't have enough. In fact, 30% of the gold sold in the world last 10 years, every year India is buying, right? So that way, India is a rich country. But the value addition, then what happens is, then there is a duty drawback part which should get back, because at the time of importing there is a duty paid. So now it has been doubled. Like for gold, it is now 1,851 per gram, and for silver it is 29,500 per kg. So there is an incentive to export now more, because we are importing a lot of gold, and then we need to convert and then export, so that the foreign exchange in the country grows. So this is also a good step in terms of motivating increased exports from India, and next year it will be reflected. You will see in the next year data of the total exports how these type of steps play a role in increasing exports from India.
Absolutely. So let's move to the next story. Oops. Yeah. Yeah. Textile sector enters structural upcycle on China plus one. So your thoughts on this, Jagatji?
Yeah, so like in every time Nikhil we discuss, I talk about roti, kapda, makan, padhai or dawai, right? So food, textile, construction, building material, education, and healthcare. These are the five things which in the world never goes down as a market demand. So here the structural upcycle, which I told you earlier, that China plus one sourcing and the global supply chain diversification, which a lot of countries were talking about but are now actively looking, and that change is bringing increased exports to India. In fact, you will be very surprised that last year almost $240 million of garments India exported to China, right? And so and but overall the share of Indian apparel is 3%, but the share of Bangladesh apparel in the world market is 9%,
Right.
right? And Vietnam is 6.7%. So that is the gap, which is an opportunity. And
Yeah.
so this is and a part of that is also coming through the free trade agreements,
Right.
right? Because then we are becoming more competitive.
Absolutely. Jagatji, there's a small question. Let's pick it up. We have few more stories, but let's pick this up
Yeah, yeah,
because, yeah. So the question is Mars is here itself. Let me just change the camera angle. Yeah. Hello, sir. How to avoid hello metal contamination in FMCG food products like superfoods, fries, etc.? Any suggestions other than avoiding pesticides? Any suggestions? Are you talking from an export perspective? I'm sorry. Do you want to see the question again, Jagatji?
yeah. How to avoid heavy metal contamination in our FMCG food products like superfoods, fries
Yeah.
or biscuits, other than avoiding pesticides? Any suggestions? So, uh, technically, I would not know this, how to
Yeah.
go about doing it, but my suggestion would be we have very good food labs in India. For example, CFTRI,
Yeah.
right, in Pune, and we have good food labs. I think this is something which, if you can run it
Hmm.
through the food labs, that because we have very good level labs now, right?
Yeah.
So they would be able to tell better that how to go about it, because this is a bit technical. I would not know about it. However, we will find it out, and I will try to find out from my contacts, and
We'll try to reply to your comment,
we'll post the
sir.
reply here itself.
Yeah, yeah. So let's move to the next story. FTA networks to cover 56 countries, says textile minister. Global textile import market $900 billion. India share 4%, as you had mentioned, Jagaji. And textile, as of today, exports from more than 500 districts. So the
Yeah.
free trade agreement. I mean, this is the opportunity. Anything you want to add to this, or we'll move to the next story, Jagaji?
No, no. So yeah, so this is again, same thing. Like I was talking about textiles, that
Yeah,
the global textile market of 900 billion, and India's share is 4%. Overall. But this, see, when we say 56 countries, it means the uh, eight countries which we have signed already, and then the European Union, which is about 28 countries, right? And then more discussions are underway. So once all of that is in place, it is expected that the 4% market share of textiles which we have in the world, within 2 3 years we should touch 20%. So 4 to
wow.
20% is 5 times growth,
Yeah.
right? So that is very huge. So again, here it is an example of a positive ecosystem being created by government through the free trade agreements.
Yeah, and the 56 countries whom we have free trade agreements with, they own 50 60% of the market. I mean, you can't
Correct.
complain anymore that duty hai, ye
Correct.
hai, wo hai.
Very true.
so, so let's move to the next story. We have PLI schemes. Wow. So PLI schemes generated 15.2 lakh crore in exports. I mean, I think this is one of those, really big success stories which I think Modi government doesn't talk about a lot, but I think they should. The PLI mechanism has been a great. I've heard from manufacturers that it's been a great help,
Correct.
and it's
Correct.
helped. So, I mean, your thoughts on this, Jagaji?
Yeah, so that is Nikhil, that is like $155 billion, right?
Right,
India's total export was 840 billion. Okay, so 860. So now this production linked incentive scheme was only floated for few industries, but today it is across 14 sectors and more are being added, eight more, right? So this is again a very interesting example of Make in India, that how Make in India. I still remember in 2014, 98% of the smartphones we were importing in India.
right.
Today, 100% we make here. In fact, we export worth billions of dollars, right? And it's a story
Right.
across many products and many sectors. So PLI is just an extension of the Make in India process, that where there is a government is giving a incentive scheme based on production. So, and a large percentage by default is going to go to exports, because the
Yeah,
moment you become competitive by these kind of programs, you are able to export more, right? So now, and it is also now coming to textile sector and many others. So having been successful and having shown results, I think it should come across every product segment of India.
right.
So it will give a huge boost to not only to the entire economy, job creation, but also exports.
Absolutely. The next story. So, this is quite interesting. So, US tariffs reshaped imports, exporters didn't cut prices. And I know you have also tweeted about this, Jagatji. I mean,
Yes.
your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so when this tariff started, within a week I was doing a program with 60 textile companies in Noida, and this is exactly what I had told. Is
Right.
exactly what I heard, because they were saying, "Oh, now we will have to reduce price, but we don't have that much of margin, and how do we tackle the market? We are going to lose it. 40% of export from Noida is to US, but 60% is not." So my logic was same, that it is the US companies who are going to pay, and they have
Yeah.
paid, and then they are also now being refunded. So yeah, so and there was no need to reduce price. Some of them did, but there was no need. And
Yeah.
even now there is a talk of additional duty being charged on India, because only in July that our 10% tariff is expiring this
Yeah.
month itself, and then section 3. So many new things are coming, but still, whatever additional duty comes, particularly to the US, that is the only country which is right now working on those lines, that we should hold on to our prices, right? Because
Absolutely.
markets are, it is very difficult to change supply chain for the markets, and markets will have to absorb it, and they are
Yeah.
absorbing. And this is IMF study. I was telling from my hunch, I was telling from my experience of the market behavior, but now the IMF has come out with a study saying that it is the US importers who absorb this cost, and you know so we should continue. However, we should also look at innovative alternatives, because that will also, should focus on competing on innovative alternatives as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
See, you can't play the price game that much. You'll have to
correct,
eventually innovate.
correct.
Yeah. So price game can give you a boost, can build some emergency fund, but innovation is the bottom line.
True.
So let's go to the next one, which is so this is upcoming news. The 10% tariff expires on July 24th. This is not just for India, this is globally, right?
Right,
And some interesting things which they've already done. White House is planning to add some replacement. Brazil got hit with some additional tariffs. I mean, 16 major trading partners under excess capacity probe. So, Jagatji, what do you say, not just for Indian exporters, but for the global market overall?
yeah. So this is the non-trade barrier, which we have been talking about, and now WTO has gone for a 6. All that was being managed and controlled by WTO, and whenever any such thing would happen, we would go to appeal there, and there would be a process. Now all that is no more, right?
Yeah,
So this on 24th July, when the 10% tariff uh, goes away, then they are planning that under section 301 they can put some tariff, and that is being negotiated right now
yeah,
under the Indo-US trade framework. And also another 12.5% on IP, and forced labor and unfair trade practices and subsidies. This is what US is saying, right? But fortunately, India has also come out saying that if that happens, we will also, put such type of duties. And this is exactly what Canada is doing currently. So, just today, yesterday, uh, US has added 50% import duty on Canadian products, right?
Wow.
50%
Wow.
yesterday. So,
Wow. On
so
all? On all?
on all, right? There are some exemptions, but mostly, and they are also, then Canada is also going to charge. In fact, now the liquor which used to come from US to Canada, it is banned. It is banned. They are boycotting it. So it is no more in the stores. So then both countries are impacted, right? So this is, India should also take a similar stand, and I hope they take that. We should also charge those type of levies, because this is a never ending game. I mean, all these framework and agreements, particularly with US, have no meaning,
Yeah.
right? Because today it may be signed, then tomorrow it may get broken,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. They have. See, that's the sad part. That if all the countries, at least to a large extent, the Western countries had some stability in policy, and that time is now over, right? Or at least
Correct.
that's what they would claim. I mean, you have to tell
Yeah,
me
yeah,
what your
yeah,
experience has been.
yeah, yeah.
They've
No, no, no.
typically had a stable policy.
Yeah, so international trade always for thousand years was always about trust.
Right.
And here the trust is broken. No, you don't keep your word, then
Yeah.
trust is broken. Now that is very small. That is like from school. It is a very, very simple principle of life, that the word you give should be honored, right?
Yeah.
If whatever word you are giving you don't honor, the trust is broken, and the whole global trade rests on trust. That's
Yeah.
how it's built. You will be surprised that hardly 15% of the global trade is done through advance payment or letter of credit. That itself is an example that how trust runs the global business.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Let's move on to the next story, which is the last story of the day, guys. So, for all of you car enthusiasts, some interesting news. India opens car import quota application under UK CETA. So, let's see what happens. Jagaji, your thoughts?
Yeah, so this is good, because two-way trade. It is, see, any trade which is one-sided. If we are signing free trade agreement, and if we say that India only will benefit by export, that's not fair, right?
Yeah.
India is also a big market. All the
Yeah.
countries who are wanting to sign free trade agreement with India are also looking at Indian market, and that in any
Absolutely.
case will lead to competitiveness in the Indian economy, and the consumer is the one who will benefit. So under the
Absolutely.
India UK free trade agreement, government has opened up, because about 1164 vehicles can be
Hmm.
imported under a quota system, right?
Hmm.
And that application has opened on yesterday, and
Hmm.
people can apply to import. And the what was a like a 44% import duty would be charged at 30%. So there is a concessional duty on that. It's not zero duty, right?
Right.
So still there is some kind of a protection to the Indian auto industry, but at the same time it will make it work hard to become more competitive also. And it's a two way kind of a benefit for both the countries who have signed. So, and
Absolutely.
overall it will lead to better competitiveness in the Indian auto market, and consumer will benefit.
Especially in the luxury space, I think
Yes.
there are some incredible UK car manufacturers, Aston Martin, McLaren, all these guys will be, looking
Correct.
forward to sort of selling their cars. And I can tell you, India has a very big luxury market as well. Although we have one India which is, struggling to even own two wheelers, but we have another India which is, you know, like Mercedes, for example, has been incredibly successful in India. That thousands of crores of sale they do, and I think brands like Aston Martin and all have a lot to gain.
Yeah, yeah. See,
So
India is the population is the leverage, and the demography. 65% population below 35 years of age, very, very aspirational and growing, and middle class is 400 million. So
yeah,
that way, there is a market for everything in India at whatever price, because there is even a small percentage, even if 2% of India's population if it is a market that's in millions, right? So
Yeah.
that's an opportunity for other countries.
Absolutely. So, guys, there you have it. That's all for today. I think quite a bit of stories to cover. By the way, guys, please do follow Export Fundas on LinkedIn and on X. We keep curating the best export stories and sharing verified updates with the source, so you can verify them yourself. I think it's been. I have started getting a lot of my export news from our Export Fundas handle, Jagatji. I don't know about you.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
And the quick card summary, no need to open an article, just on X you get it. So please do follow Export Fundas. And other than that, sorry, we'll not be able to take questions today because Jagaji has to drop off. But thank you so much for watching. Any parting words, Jagaji, before you sign off?
No, I just want to tell all the Indian entrepreneurs in particular that whatever business you are doing, whether you are a manufacturer, you are in trading, or you are in service sector, your growth is going to come from exports, because in India, the Indian market is huge, understood, but it is extremely competitive, and more competition is increasing, because with every passing year more companies are joining every business, and
Right,
exports not many companies are doing. And exports
right,
is a large, I mean, it's like $122 trillion export market, I mean, overall
right,
economy of the world. And India
right,
is 4.4 trillion. So very common sense question: will you grow faster in a 4.4 trillion Indian economy, or a 122 trillion economy which is outside India? So focus on exports, and it may take time, but and in exports, when you focus, don't look at market is there. Look at your preparation. Are you ready? Like someone asked this question, that heavy
best,
metal contamination. So
yeah,
get that sorted out, get your
yeah,
certification sorted
yeah,
out, your packaging, your finishing of the product, your communication skills. What
yeah. Because
market
right now
is
you don't get to complain about the market. Free trade agreements have been signed
correct,
with 50 plus countries. I
correct,
mean, what are you complaining? It's like selling to another state, literally.
correct, absolutely. So
So,
that's the focus everyone should have.
yep. So there you have it, guys. See you all next week with a new story. Bye bye.
Thank you, Nikhil. Bye.